Hello, Randy Kincaid for Kincaid Country Kitchens. Today our project is going to be to show you how to make pickled okra. It's a very simple process, and the first thing I want to do is to go over with you the things that you'll need to do this test. Now we're only going to make about 3-pint jars of it today, so I'm going to show you about the right amount of ingredients to get that done. Of course, you have to have your jars. You'll need a pot to process your jars in, to sterilize them, and to do the canning process. We have a pressure cooker here so that we can gently pressure the raw peppers that we're going to use in there to get that extra spice in those okras. And then we have another pot that we're going to make our brine solution in. Right here, some okras here. I picked these okras out of our garden. I have some fresh dill weed here. I like dill in my pickled okras. You can use dried dill also instead of that. Minced garlic, canning salt. One of the most important things about salt, it doesn't matter what type of salt you use as long as it's not iodized. You want to use plain salt. And then we have some red crushed peppers to add that extra punch to them. I already have poured 3 cups of water into this measuring bowl. We're going to add to that 1 cup of 5% white distilled vinegar. And then, of course, we have to have the cold beer. That's for the cook. We're going to have to prepare our okra, but while we're doing that, we're going to get our pot boiling. We're going to put our jars in the pot so that we can sterilize them. Now, you don't need to put the rings in there, just the lids, because they come in contact with the food, the jar. Then you'll need a magnet to get the lids out after they're done. Okay, we're going to turn the heat up a little bit on the jars. Our brine solution going, the 3-to-1 ratio of water and vinegar goes in this pot. And we're going to add our salt to it, into the pot. We want to get this heated up just enough to dissolve that salt. And then we're going to put our garlic directly into our brine solution. It doesn't really matter how much garlic you use, it's to your own taste. But for this batch, I'm going to use a spoonful about like that right there. That'll give it some good garlic flavor. Stir it up a little bit. Get the heat turned on. We want to get our peppers going. We'll need to put a little bit of water in our pressure cooker. Just a little bit. We don't need much. Just enough to keep them from sticking to the bottom of the pressure cooker. Put our peppers in there. Lid on. Start that up. Put our weight on the pressure cooker. Okay, we've got all that under control. That's all going. The jars are ready to come out. I use bread tongs to handle my jars with, but they do make some very nice ones that you can use to lift your jars in and out of that hot water so you don't touch them. We're going to take the magnet here and get our lids out. The hot water. Turn them upside down on the counter so you don't contaminate them. We're going to put a lid on this pot just to kind of keep it from boiling out, just so that the steam won't evaporate. Now we're going to fix our okra. I just put the okra in the sink and stir it around to get any sand or anything that might have been on it out in the field. What we want to do is we want to cap the okra, but we do not want to take the cap all the way off. Now actually that part of the okra is edible, but I like to trim it down to about here, where it looks just like that right there. Oh good, our peppers are just about done. See the pressure's on the pressure cooker. You want to be careful on these pressure cookers if you haven't ever used one before, that you don't open the lid while that pressure's on. That tells you the pressure's on. You can hear the release weight there, keeping the right amount of pressure of the steam head on it. So We pressured these peppers lightly. Now we're going to take them off of the fire. We're going to take it over to the sink and run cold water on it. And that will cool it down to where the pressure's off of it. As soon as see that thing went down right there? Now we can remove our weight, open it up, and voila, we have our product in there. I'm going to take, I'm going to drain off some of the water because I don't want to have to deal with that. It looks like our brine solution's ready. It's all hot and boiling. We're going to put the seasonings in the jars that we're going to use to season the okras. First thing I'm going to do is add our peppers that we made. This is fun. Okay, peppers are in there. We're going to put some dill weed in there. Now we're going to add a little pinch of our pickling spices. Just a little bit, doesn't take much. Okay. Some crushed red peppers. A pinch. Maybe 2 pinches. The next step is to stuff our jars with the okra. It makes a better presentation if you can stand them up, but these are so small they won't, so we're going to put them in there randomly. A couple of long ones there, I'm going to stand them up anyway. Pack it as tightly as you can. Okay, there we have it. We have it all packed up. I'm going to go ahead and fill these other jars, and then I'll be back in just a moment. The jars are full now. We're going to put the pickling brine in. We want to put the brine in up to about within 5/8 inch of the top of the jar. It has to have some room for expansion. Our jars are full and it's time to put the lids on. One of the important things about lidding your jars is that they be clean. So you've got to make sure that there's no material on that rubber gasket. You see that rubber gasket that seals it? And you wipe the rim of the jar so that there's nothing on top of the rim of the jar. We put our bands on the things just snug. Now our jars are ready to go into the hot water bath. Kind of have to be careful about that. That's where you can really get your fingers burned. We're going to add enough water to make sure that the water is going to be up to the jar lids. As soon as our water gets boiling again, we're going to set our timer to 10 minutes. Okay, it sounds like our water's starting to boil now. Yep, there it is. We're going to put the lid back on it. We're going to set the timer for exactly 10 minutes. Okay, it's time to take our pickles out of the pot. So I've taken them out of the hot water bath. I'm going to set them on the counter about 1 inch apart, and you let them cool. Now, an interesting thing, when they cool, you'll hear the lids go pop, and that means that you have a seal. Whenever you get through with the process and they're all cooled down, if you can put your finger in the center of that lid and press down on it, that means that you didn't get a good seal. Otherwise, that lid is going to be depressed in just a little bit. The seal is made, and they'll keep for 2 years. That's it for Kincaid Country Kitchens today. Happy pickled okra making.